Hello. This is my Friday presence in your life here on YouTube. This week, I'm going to talk about honoring your work. And this video is especially dedicated to my friends who are connected with me on the Creators of the Future workshop, and that makes it week 30. Now let me explain the concept of honoring your work with these two little figurettes that I have drawn here. So this is John and this is Joe. Now John is working for Joe. That means Joe pays John every month an X amount of money because John is a salesperson who has committed to deliver to Joe 1500 books in sales volume every month. You understood the scenario? It's a typical work scenario. If you are a working professional, whatever money you are getting, there is something you have committed to deliver, and I'm talking about honoring your work. Now let's say, for instance, Joe does not pay John the promised money this month. All right, now what are the implications? Of course, John doesn't get the money. That is the apparent damage that you see. But there is a bigger damage that goes on this, what is visible to a third person in a relationship between John and Joe. Now, could it be that John is paying an EMI on his house? Could it be? Yes. Now, is that jeopardized? Absolutely. Could it be that John had taken a loan from a friend or a relative and had said, look, I'm going to get my salary this month and I give you my word, I'm going to give you this money on the 4th of next month. Could it also be that John's wife had taken a leave because she had the security of John's income? Could it be that the school fee of his little girl is due this month, which is now going to be a doubtful payment because Joe failed to pay John? Look, all of these new hang-ups have come into John's life because Joe has not honored his word, his commitment to pay him the money. This adds more stress into his life. It has a direct impact on his health. Plus, he loses his credibility from all of these people who actually banked upon him when he gave his word that, look, I promise to pay the installments on time. It affects his credibility on a financial front. He had promised to pay his relatives and friends who probably will never trust him again. His wife is now upset with him and now not supportive of his job because she doesn't trust that Joe's company is the right company that John is working for. His daughter is upset because she gets to hear 2-3 things in school that, oh, your admission may be cancelled because your father is unable to pay the fee. Not to mention the stress and the ill health he goes through because one man failed to honor his word. Do you see the implication far and beyond than what is happening between these two people? It does not end here. There is a larger impact that Joe is making in John's life. He has an impact on people he has never met. He has an impact on these people who have further given their word to somebody else and now cannot honor it because Joe failed here. Let me give you another example. This is a situation where Joe has honored his word to pay John, but John has failed to deliver his commitment of 1500 books that he was supposed to sell to keep his job as a fair exchange toward the money that he got as a salary. What if John only sold 300 books that month? Now, as much as John may say, oh, it was a bad month, the economy was bad, there was this whole demonetization thing going on, and whatever it is that people say to make excuses for non-performance, look, in a larger picture, John has created far more damage than his excuses can justify. Now, look, number one, he has caused a loss in the organization of Joe by not delivering the promised number. And you know, I will tell you this out of personal experience. If Joe is an entrepreneur, when John does not deliver the numbers, it not only just creates a loss for his organization, he also lands up paying out of his own pocket and takes a hit on his own income while he still paid John the income. So at the end of the month, John goes home with money despite his non-performance, but Joe does not take home a salary because he's an entrepreneur. His organization stats take a hit. It could also be that there were certain investors who were willing to invest in Joe's company, but now looking at the low performance of his organization, they pull out. Alright, let me also explain with a much simpler example. Let's say we have Jill and we have Jenny. Now, Jill and Jenny make a commitment or make an appointment. For me, an appointment is a commitment. You have to understand, the minute your word leaves your mouth, the minute you tell somebody, I will do this, I will be there, it's a commitment. Jenny makes an appointment with Jill to meet at 9:30 in the morning. Alright, now Jill arrives at 9:30 while our Miss Jenny arrives at 10:15. Now while she may say, oh alright, I was late and this happened and that happened, please understand that 45-minute delay where Jill stood to her commitment, where Jill stood to honor her side of the commitment, that she showed up on time and you didn't, it had an impact on Jill for sure. Now, could Jill have slept 45 minutes more? Oh yes, and you know the value of that 45 minutes sleep when you arrive on time and everybody else is late. Could it be that Jill did not eat breakfast and she could have, if she would have known that it's going to be a 45-minute delay on the appointment, could it be that she could have spent some time with her family, or she could have gotten some other work done, or she could have gone to the gym? I don't know. What would you do if I gave you 45 minutes all for yourself? I am sure you would value that and come up with something that you really wanted to do had you known about it. Now, this is not a great scenario because Jenny woke up 45 minutes late. It's a small thing, but when you look at what could have been, it's a big thing, because you see, time is life. What do you have? You only have time that is yours. Let me give you one last example just for fun. Now, let's say you're an author and you have a printer. All right. Now you are paying the printer money to deliver to you Court's book on 7th of May because you have promised your readers a dispatch and arrival for 13th of May. All right. The printer says, don't worry, madam, I will deliver the books to you on 7th of May, and you have already paid him. Now, what if that guy delivers your books 2 weeks later? All right, now for him it's like, hey, I went through this problem, falana happened, and it's only 2 weeks late. Come on, be reasonable. And while he says, hey, it's just 2 weeks, you know, so what's the big deal? Let me tell you what's the big deal when someone does not honor his word, when someone does not keep his commitment, when someone fails to honor his work. Do you think this author would have made a commitment that you're going to get the Court's book on 13th of May? Now, when the Court's book does not arrive, do you think the readers could be a tad upset? Do you think they could write reviews on Amazon? The book was great, but the Court's book did not come. And did you know this review stays on Amazon for life? Could it be that the author now looks stupid? Hey, you committed to me a Court's book and now you didn't send it. And now the dispatches of the original books go and the Court's book goes later, and the author has to pay 2 times the money in delivery. All of that and a reputation that if she says she's going to send something free with the book, it may not arrive. Because you see, you fail a person once, they won't trust you again, or the next time around they will take your word with a pinch of salt. But where did the failing occur? It was here. For this person, it's just a 2-week delay, but look at the reputation and the repercussion that it has on a person who trusted you and gave you full money in exchange of a word and work that you dishonored. Now, why am I highlighting this point? Because I believe that an exchange, especially when it comes to work, should be karmically clean. What does that mean? That you have to be aware that what you do, what you deliver has a larger impact. What you exchange here is going to impact the lives of at least 20 people that you have never ever met. And if you understand that magnitude, there is a karmic connection between my printer and my reader. When my reader gets upset and I get upset at the printer, hey, he's gonna get that vibe from somewhere. Why invite bad karma because of a work dishonored? You see, when the author pays full money to the printer in exchange for a commitment, that commitment has to be honored. This money went for A purpose, B, a shoddy job was delivered. So as much as the author received the books, did it do any service? No, it already did so much damage. The books caused, this action caused so much damage in the person's life that no amount of money or apology can compensate for a repercussion. You have to be so careful when you give your word, when you give your commitment, whether it is about a payment or a service that you're going to render and give. You have to understand that there is a bigger karmic implication that your work, that your job is going to have on people outside of your recognition. Now, what would I tell you? I would say, when you, the printer, tell the author that I will deliver the books on 7th May, deliver it on 1st. Can you imagine what kind of amazing value that you have added into the author's life when she sends the books ahead of time, where the reader is expecting it on 13th of May and you sent it out on 7th of May. Now, it's exchange of money. Of course, you delivered the books and you got the money for it, but this karmic positivity that is going to come your way because 500 people were delighted, which you never knew about, is going to show up in your life. I believe in energy. I believe in vibe. And you know what? When a reaction of an energy is created, it will find its source back to the printer, positive and negative. Can you imagine the delight that you would cause that the meeting is at 9:30 and you show up 5 minutes earlier just to receive the person, even though it was an appointment she set for you? Can you believe the delight when you told your boss, I will deliver 1500, and you delivered 1510. Now that is something that is going to come bountiful in your direction, because in not just honoring your word but exceeding it, you brought upon yourself a multifold of karmic positivity. And I am honoring my work by bringing you my very best in the form of my 9th book, The Wise Man Said. If you have read any of my books and loved it, you are definitely going to love this one. And if you have read none of my books, you're definitely going to love this one. So I'm going to stay connected with you, and you have to know that I'm rooting for you, and I am committed to bring you a great positive message every single Friday. So please stay in touch, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next Friday, bye-bye.